hope that we get to a point where there is a peace deal. And at the moment, it is the Americans very much pushing for that, and I commend them, and we are closely coordinating with the Americans and being helpful wherever we can as NATO to get that peace deal done. And of course, they are, as you know, closely in discussions with the Ukrainians. There are discussions today with the Russians. But again, the 28-point plan has moved on, that's clear, and I can assure you when it comes to all aspects of a potential future peace deal on Ukraine, we are closely coordinating with the Americans.
Okay, and the third row here, Bloomberg.
Andrea Palacciano from Bloomberg. Thank you, Secretary-General. You mentioned that anything pertaining to NATO and the negotiations will be dealt with separately. Can you confirm this has started already, in which format, and who will be at the table? Thank you.
Now, but let me just stick with that statement, because everything I say about the peace process might not be helpful. So the less I say about it, the better it is. But this is just to make sure that you understand, and that, of course, also coordinating closely with the Americans, we make sure that, that this is a separate issue to be dealt with.
Okay, and just next to her, we'll go to Greece.
Hi, Secretary-General Maria Vasiliou, Tanea, Greece.
Hi.
I suppose you are following the discussions among Europeans on the reparations loan. I would like to ask you whether you share Belgium's position that the reparations loan might be an obstacle to the peace plan discussed. And do you have the feeling that there is some sort of inconsistency among Europeans? Because on one side, it is claimed that supporting Ukraine is of utmost importance for European security, and on the other hand, it's so difficult to agree on how to support Ukraine. And secondly, what do you think about the fact that NATO members, such as the UK, were not included in the safe mechanism? Thank you.
Okay, please accept these are two questions about the EU, and I have my hands full trying to steer this alliance in the right direction with all my colleagues. And I have to leave the EU to my highly respected colleague Ursula von der Leyen and, of course, Antonio Costa, the leaders of the European Union, who do that in an excellent way. And we closely coordinate also on the issues you just mentioned, obviously. But I think I should not comment about internal EU matters.
All right, and then just next to her, BBC.
Thank you, Secretary-General Sergei Gerashko. I was wondering if you could confirm that you are familiar with the current new version of this peace plan that Wyckoff has brought to Putin right now, and whether this plan concerns in any how NATO's security, whether there is anything that NATO countries should be concerned about in it.
What I can say is that we closely coordinate with the Americans and, of course, also with the Ukrainians on this whole peace effort. It started with President Trump breaking the deadlock by engaging with President Putin in February, and he has consistently been working on this, and I think we're all better off for that, because it was only the American president who was able to break that deadlock in the end, and he did, and therefore these talks are now underway. We do not yet know whether they will be successful. We will try everything we can do to be as positively involved as possible. But it also means that I have to talk a little bit in a restrained fashion when it comes to all the steps, what we know, do not know, what is exactly happening, because it's not helping the process. So that's why I'm holding off a little bit on answering your question.
Okay, and we're going to come here in the third row, Lithuanian public broadcaster.
Thank you. Milda Vilikanskita from Lithuanian Public Broadcaster. My question is a bit follow-up about hybrid attacks. We remember you said that it is too expensive, for example, to fight cheap drones with expensive fire jets. But, for example, in Lithuania, we have confirmed with even cheaper attacks like meteor balloons, and it is paralyzing our airspace. Flights cannot depart or arrive to Lithuania. Do you see any measures that can be done in Lithuania by our officials or in NATO to fight these attacks? Thank you.
Yes, of course, we are closely coordinating with Lithuania, but with all the countries concerned when it comes to what happened in Poland early September with the drone incursions clearly coming from Russia. and later on in Estonia, the 3 MiG-31 being guided outside of Estonian airspace. But we have also seen drone sightings in, for example, Denmark, around the 2 key EU meetings taking place there, the informal EU Council and then the European Political Community meeting in Denmark, in Copenhagen. And we have seen similar reports from the Netherlands, from Belgium, etc. So this is one of the reasons for 2 things. One of those, first of all, when it comes to the countries who are physically on the eastern flank, like Lithuania, that Eastern Century also entails all the activities we are working on to make sure that we, of course, we do a lot on drones already. But with the input from the Allied Command Transformation, so the Supreme Allied Commander Transformation, Pierre von Jay, and of course General Krenkovic, the Supreme Allied Commander Europe, to make sure that we use Eastern Century also to even further ramp up and step up together with the EU, which is working on getting the industry going. The EU is working on getting the money there and all the other stuff what the EU is working on together with NATO. That's on the flank. And when it comes to other drone sightings, you have also seen that countries come to the help. Like in Belgium, like in Denmark, even Ukraine, sending a team over to Denmark to make sure that they will be better equipped to deal with the drones which were there seen around these 2 key European meetings. And then the Deputy Secretary-General, she was in Ukraine, I think it was now 10 days, last week. And there has also been new agreements to work with Ukraine and Ukrainian industry to even further develop our joint efforts when it comes to defense production, and particularly also when it comes to drones.
Okay, we have time for a couple more questions. We're going to go up to NTV Turkey.
Secretary General, good afternoon. I'm just in front of you here.
Yes, hi.
Good from NTV Turkey. Good afternoon. I have 2 questions. First is with regard to the attacks that we're witnessing in the Black Sea on shadow or ghost fleets. This is raising security concern for Turkey. So what is your point of view on the situation and what NATO can do on that topic? And my second question is that I believe that there is 3 or 4 ministerial left that will pave the way to the summit in Ankara. So what will be the concrete deliverable to the summit in Ankara? And do you think that that might be a milestone for the ceasefire with the Ukraine and Russia, Russia-Ukraine, or whether it's going to be earlier? Thank you.
Yes, on the first question, what we have seen, the reports, of course, as you also mentioned, of 2 Shadow Fleet ships in the Black Sea that were struck by uncrewed vessels over the weekend. And we have also heard the concerns expressed by, indeed, Turkey, our ally Turkey, about safety in the Black Sea. And let me just say this, I really believe that this incident is, again, further evidence of the broader security risk posed by Russia's ongoing war against Ukraine. On your second question, of course, we are, Ankara is not tomorrow. Ankara is today, but I mean the summit in Ankara is not tomorrow. That will be next year. But we are really working together with Turkey and all allies on making sure that it will be a splash again, a big success. As you know, we will take decisions on the exact outcomes later. First of all, when it comes to Ukraine, I hope, of course, we pray for a peace deal or a full ceasefire before the summit. So let's hope it doesn't have to wait till then. But when it comes to the summit, one of the elements, no doubt, and I'm not saying this is the outcome, but an important outcome of the summit has to be the follow-up of The Hague. So when it comes to defense spending, that a credible path is there to get to the 5%. When it concerns the defense industrial production, that we are ramping up defense industrial production, also making use of the impressive defense industrial base in Turkey. And thirdly, when it comes to Ukraine, hopefully there is a peace deal. If not, that indeed all allies together are working day in, day out to make sure that Ukraine has what it needs to stay in the fight as strong as possible, and then to be as strong as possible also in peace negotiations, if that has not already led to a full peace deal.
Okay, the gentleman here in the beard.